Hey YouTube, today we're going to do a comparison, and if you like big and powerful, this is going to be the video for you to watch. So what we're going to compare today is the ever famous Desert Eagle 50 AE, and we're going to compare it to the Smith and Wesson 500 revolver. And before we get started, I'm going to show you that neither one of these weapons are loaded, and we are clear to make this video, and we will remain safe. Now, what we're going to talk about today is which one is more powerful, which one is more practical, and some of the uses for each one of these. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with this guy right here. This is a Desert Eagle 50 AE. 50 AE stands for Action Express and is a 50 caliber projectile coming out of a semi-automatic pistol. This is a single action only pistol, meaning every time that you pull the trigger, it goes off and the slide has to cycle for it to go off again. It will not go off twice. This is the most powerful semi-automatic pistol on the market today, and widely popular, been in a bunch of video games and movies and stuff like that. It's just absolutely an iconic pistol. This particular one has a compensator up front and rails on top and bottom, and is made out of stainless steel. And this booger is heavy. This thing weighs over 4 pounds in your hands, and it is a handful, folks. The grip has to make up for that large cartridge in it, so unless you have big hands, it's going to be very awkward to hold. If you have large hands, it's pretty ergonomic to shoot, and pretty reliable pistol. Most times when you have problems with these, it's usually due to the magazines. But this one seems to be pretty reliable. The magazine on this thing holds 7 rounds, and if you put one in the chamber, you can have a maximum capacity of 8 rounds of a 50 caliber cartridge. Pretty awesome weapon. I can't say enough good things about it, and we're going to compare it to the next one here. This is a Smith and Wesson 500, and this is the most powerful handgun that you can buy. This is built on Smith and Wesson's large X frame, and the capacity in this one is going to be 5 rounds. It's going to be 5 rounds, but this is the most powerful cartridge you can get in a handgun. This is the 4-inch model, and it also has a compensator up front. And folks, these need a compensator. Now, this one fires in single action, and it has a double action capability, so you can do either one. The disadvantage of this is going to be your capacity, but the advantages are going to be your power that you pack per punch and the reliability, because you don't get much more reliable than a revolver when you're shooting anything. Reliable revolvers are usually 100% reliable. Now, what is the difference in these two? A lot of people like to compare these things, and I'm going to tell you some of the differences. The Smith & Wesson 500 came out in 2003, and it was they built this X frame for that. And you can get some hot loads, and you can get some decent smaller loads, but the average ballistics on a Smith & Wesson 500 is going to be about 1,975 feet per second, and that's going to produce around 3,000 foot-pounds of energy when it hits its target. And folks, that is astronomical numbers. I mean astronomical. But the downfall to that is when you're shooting something like this gun has so much recoil, especially with this short barrel. It is not for a beginner. You have to absolutely hold on to this thing, and you can get hurt. This is not a gun that you take your girlfriend or a beginner out there and tell them to hold it one hand and see what it does. It is not that kind of weapon here, folks. This is a serious machine, and it will hurt somebody. It shoots a massive fireball out of the front of this one, and it throws percussion out like you've never seen before with this compensator on the side. But a lot of people use these for like bear protection, carrying in the woods, are a lot more manageable in weight than carrying that big old Desert Eagle. You are going to be down on your capacity, but how many do you really need when you're shooting a cartridge of this caliber? It's a 1/2-inch slug traveling at 2,000 feet per second. I mean, it's unimaginable the amount of destruction that this weapon can cause. But very awesome gun, just 100% reliable. I mean, you just can't ask for more. If you had a hunting sidearm, this is going to get it done. There's nothing that this gun will not take out, folks. Now, with the Desert Eagle, I see this as more of a novelty, and I know it does has its uses, and you can use this as a sidearm, and I believe it is reliable enough. But when you're talking about something that requires a 1/2-inch slug, a 50 caliber projectile to stop it, I want it to be 100% reliable. So some of the disadvantages to this is simply the weight and the size. I mean, this thing is absolutely massive next to that Desert Eagle. Next to that Smith and Wesson X frame. Now, normal loads on a 50 AE is going to be down a little bit from the Smith and Wesson 500. You're going to push like a 300 grain projectile through the air about 1,600 feet per second. 1,400 feet per second, and it's going to produce about 1,600 pounds of energy upon impact. And where that is extremely massive, it is down almost 1,000 pounds, a little bit more than 1,000 pounds over the Smith and Wesson 500. So it is quite a bit of difference, but it's not going to be as much difference as you would think. It is still going to cause a tremendous amount of destruction when it hits. Now, the advantages of this one is this thing's got so much weight to it, and it's so large, the recoil is a lot more manageable in this Desert Eagle. I mean, it is a lot more pleasurable to shoot, and it's easier to control. I still would not recommend taking your 120-pound girlfriend out and letting her one-hand it, but it is a lot more manageable than that. Now, some of the disadvantages to it is it's just very large. It's very awkward to hold, whereas the revolver has a normal size frame, so normal size hands can fit around it. But this one here is just a massive gun. The advantages to it is semi-automatic, so you are going to have a larger capacity, and reloads are going to be a lot easier because it's got a box magazine that goes in it. This particular gun operates more like a rifle, so when you open this up, it actually has a bolt that it's a rotating bolt that looks very similar to an AR bolt, and it rotates into these locking lugs into the barrel, and gas runs through the bottom of this barrel and actually cycles this gun. So it's a really, really unique design and a handgun. It's the only one I know that operates this way. It does have a manual safety here on top. The revolver operates like every other revolver. You have a cylinder release on the side, just like all Smith and Wessons, and you just rotate. You can shoot it single action. Every time you pull back the hammer, it rotates it, or you can opt to go with it's a little bit heavier, but the double action pull on it. Just a great hunting sidearm, but practicality, if you were going to the range, not many people are gonna shoot all day long with a Smith and Wesson 500. But if you wanted to own the biggest and baddest and the most powerful handgun in the world, you buy a Smith and Wesson 500. And if you want to own the most powerful semi-automatic gun in the world, own the Desert Eagle. They're both very good weapons. They're both very well built by reputable companies. They're both made in the United States. Both of these are constructed out of stainless steel. Both of them have rubber grips to absorb some of that massive recoil in them, and they both have their place in this world. I don't know exactly what both of those places are, and that's up to the end user to pick. But these are very, very, very iconic, very awesome weapons. If you were looking for big bore power, it doesn't get bigger than a 50 caliber. It's the largest allowed by the law to own on any weapon is a 50 caliber. And if you want the most powerful one, this is the most powerful semi-automatic. This is the most powerful revolver. If you want the most powerful altogether handgun, you're going to pick this Smith & Wesson 500. But anyway, folks, I wanted to show you a side-by-side, give you a couple little bit of comparisons and little ballistic tests and stuff like that, and let you decide which one you think is better. Now, the Desert Eagle is going to cost a little bit more. There's a lot more involved in milling this large chunk of steel and this gas operating system than the Smith & Wesson. The Smith & Wesson is a basic double-action revolver, so it is a lot lot cheaper to manufacture. Now, is it really that much cheaper? I mean, these things are still pretty pricey, but they aren't quite as pricey as the Desert Eagle. I happen to like them both. I really don't have an opinion on which one I like better. It's a whole different ball game shooting each one of them. Anyway, folks, let me know which one do you prefer, and thank you very much for watching my video today, and you folks have a great day.